what do you think about this conversation we just had in relation to lectures? Do you think that lectures are more valuable in person, or do you think that there's a difference?
That's interesting. I never really thought of it. I think I don't actually think there's a difference because all that matters is that you get the information. It's not really a conversation. I mean, I guess if you wanted to ask a question, that's obviously a loss in value. But other than that, I think it's the same. What do you think?
I think it's like opposite to how it is when you're having a conversation. Sort of similar to the reason you gave, is that it's not really a conversation. It's more information being communicated to you. And I think that even if there was a benefit in terms of being able to see non-verbal communication in person, and that if that provided some benefit somehow, I still think that there are so many things you lose out on when you have to attend in person. Like, it's such a massive inconvenience to go physically to a place and sit there listening at 1x speed, not being able to skip, not being able to pause, not really being able to context switch to something else if it just gets boring, find a different lecture or whatever. It just seems like the tiny benefit that you would gain from being there in person does not outweigh all of the negatives that you have to deal with.
Yeah, exactly. And to be honest, I'm not even sure such a benefit exists. I mean, think about it. Because much of the problem with digital communication comes from the fact that you say something and then I have to say something back. But if you say something and I don't have to say anything back, it's not clear to me that anything is lost. Because there's no lag issue. There's nothing like that. It's just, I'm just listening in the same way that I'd be listening if you were here. Obviously, that's even better if I could see your face, like in a lecture. So I feel like you're getting all the benefits. Unless there's something intangible about just being in a physical space. Maybe there are other people there that energizes you. I don't know. Maybe the place is beautiful and it's nice to be there. I don't know. I mean, whatever it is. But I doubt that it's anything like social.
Yeah,
like that.
It seems to be all intangibles. That's what I find people mostly point to when I ask that question. It's just like, yeah, there are all these negatives, but have you thought about how pretty the hall looks, or what effect it has? Just being in that environment and the atmosphere.
Yeah.
It always feels.
I mean, it's a funny point. Yeah. Have you asked a lot of people that? Like, what do people mostly prefer?
I think most people prefer just to watch lectures online. I mean, yeah, it just seems like such a massive inconvenience. Like it's like it's so bad in so many ways because it's like this massive fixed block in your schedule that you can't move. So that's inconvenient. The inability to change the speed is obviously insane. You can't pause, which sucks. Which you can do all these things so easily online. I don't know. I really see no benefit whatsoever to most lectures. Obviously, there are you can do talks in person that give you something that you can't get just by watching it on the internet. Like if there's some sort of performance aspect to it, or
oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, or some sort of special way you're using the physical space to convey some message. Like, I'm thinking of like a light show or like those physics demonstrations or something. Yeah, maybe, but it really seems to me that the insane number of disadvantages just you can't justify it, really.
I completely agree with that. And obviously, the obvious exception is, like you said, performances. Nobody would say that a concert is just as good on the internet as it was in real life. Nobody would say that. But that's obvious because it's about the energy. A lot of the value there is about the energy. If you're just talking about straight up learning, I totally agree with you. The benefits are plentiful if you're watching it online. Like, the ability to rewind if you missed something or you didn't understand. Like, that's totally lost.
Yeah.
It could completely diminish the value of a lecture in person because maybe you missed one point or you didn't understand it or you need supplemental information.
Yeah.
Online, you can just pause and Google something or whatever. and then you come back to it, and the whole thing makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally agree with that.
I wonder if there is a way, or can you think of a way to make lectures more performative, or could you change them to sort of include what we see as other valuable like in-person performances having? Is there a way to give lectures that?
It seems clear to me that if you're in a small group, the lecture is more valuable in person. Like if someone's speaking to a group of 8 people, that seems sort of obviously more valuable than if it's like in a big lecture hall or whatever. For some reason, it just feels more personal to me, and like you could ask a question. Obviously, asking questions is the major loss, but maybe also for things like science experiments, the atmosphere of it wouldn't be totally captured on video. I don't know really. I mean, do you have some ideas around that?
No. I mean, like you said, I think smaller lectures or seminars or tutorials, those sort of things, where you're expected to contribute. It's not like you go to hear someone speak. It's like you go to discuss. Those sort of meetings, those sort of group discussions are really useful. I wonder if there's a way to recreate that just over Discord. You know, I mean, we've tried to do those sort of discussions. Do you think they come close to like the value you get from an in-person discussion?
I don't know. I mean, what tends to happen with the Discord discussions, the group Discord discussions, is that 1 or 2, maybe 3 people will dominate the conversation. They'll take up, 80% of the airtime, and the rest of the people, and it may be 15 people in there, don't really say much. You know what I mean? And so I wonder. I mean, obviously, in person that happens too. If you're in a group, some people say more stuff than other people. That happens, but I wonder if you could physically see someone and directly ask for their opinion or something like that, it could change the dynamic. And some people are more shy, and that's just whatever. And you could give them confidence to speak up by talking directly to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a kind of ambiguous when you're just speaking on Discord, whether someone's there or not. So if someone's muted, it might just be because they don't want to make noise on the mic while they're listening to people, or it might just be because they aren't listening at all and they're doing something else, or just that they don't want to talk. And so you can't really directly address someone and ask for their opinion and sort of force them to give an answer like you can in social situations. And it sounds It sounds like I'm like saying it's good to make people uncomfortable or demand that they give you an answer, but that's not really the thing. It's just like it's like a very light form of coercion, or a very sort of slight social pressure just to give your opinion, or get someone to give their opinion.
Extremely slight.
Yeah. And often when someone's slightly uncomfortable about saying something, it's because they have something really interesting to say. So it's like it can be really beneficial to get them to try to articulate their view on something,
Yeah. So in that way, I wonder if there are some optimizations that could be made on Discord to more closely emulate a real life group conversation. Although I'm a little bit lacking confidence. It doesn't seem like there would be.
I think maybe webcams. Maybe that would help, because then you can see if someone's physically there or not. You still can't really tell if they're listening properly, but
yeah. I mean, webcams would alleviate that problem of not knowing if someone's there, but also in a group you can just look at someone's face. You can just look at someone's eyes. When if you're speaking and you go, "What do you think about that?" and you just look at someone, then they know it's your turn to say something.